I think the older I get, the main thing I try to remember is to just be yourself, to just be myself. I think that's the only thing that can and should guide creativity. It can be quite difficult to do sometimes, to remember that, but really it's the only goal, is to just kind of relax and allow whatever is inside to come out. I just want to keep making records, making albums, making vinyl. I want to make something that's going to last after I'm dead, you know, after I'm gone. Something that people can hand to friends or to family members or down generations. That's the most exciting thing for me. It guides me more than anything else. It's a great question. It's something that I've been asking myself a lot. I think that you know, many artists, when they get to a certain point in their career, they say something like, this is the album I've always wanted to make. And I don't feel that way, because every album I've made before this, at that moment, was the album I wanted to make then. So I don't know why exactly, but I felt a lot of freedom on this album. Maybe more so than ever before. Maybe it had something to do with lockdown, maybe, because we were all forced to stop our lives, stop our careers, but in that time I was able to just remember that I can be an artist and I don't have to worry about crowds or touring or DJing or anything. I just could do what I wanted, you know. So I think that's had a small part of, you know, it's a small component to the sound. I like how you said the mixture of dark and light, because yeah, that's always been really fascinating to me. There's a subject around that's the heart of this album. Hope in fear, or yeah, light within darkness, or beauty within noise, or also finding comfort within it, you know? You used the word nourishing, which I really like. I feel that way. I feel really comforted and nourished, and it's how I grew up on this music. It was to do with dark, like sort of shadowy music that I found very warm and inviting. And I wanted to do my version of that on this record. As soon as I finished Haze, I wanted to expand that idea into a full album. So that was number one. I guess my overall idea of the album was to make something that felt like a dream. That's my favorite albums always feel like that, like the artist is taking you by the hand and leading you into their world, into their dreams for an hour, and then out again, you know. And dreams, of course, can be big or small or noisy or quiet and peaceful, and there's always a story to them. And hopefully you remember them, and hopefully you can revisit them and find new things within a dream. And I guess that was my main idea, yeah. I don't think there's a specific story, but there definitely are some abstract ideas there that go back to this idea of finding peace within chaos, or comfort within the noise, this quiet stillness within distortion, and how that can apply to life. You know, particularly now, life is chaotic and pretty scary, so we all have to do things to find our own peace within this world. I don't think the album has a theme to it, but that's the overall feeling. That's how I made the record anyway, with that idea in my mind. Yeah. I gave them a small amount of direction. What I did was I showed them the world I was trying to create, and that included a lot of visual cues as well as music. So I played them music, but it was crucial to me that I talked about some of the other influences on it. So for me, directors like David Lynch or David Fincher, painters, Mark Rothko, Francis Bacon, Andrew Wyeth, and then, you know, obviously films, and even some things like 90s video games that had a similar aesthetic to it, a sort of dark feeling to them, but inviting. And then music from outside of my world as well, so Nick Cave or PJ Harvey or Portishead, or things like, all the things that were so inviting to me as a teenager. So I showed them this world that I was creating, and it's interesting to me that this album has always been called Tremor from the first moments. It was just that name was there for the whole time. But I didn't give any of the singers direction of what to sing or what to write. I wanted them to put their strong identity on it, and they all did beautifully, you know. I've always been interested in things that are dark but also can sometimes be funny or sort of alluring or enchanting, or always been drawn to that world. I find it comforting when I remember that life is chaos and we can all attempt to put a sort of order on it or anything, but really we're also lucky to be here right now at this time, but it's chaos. I find that comforting. I can find some kind of stillness within that and just, okay, everything is chaos, so I can only do what I am, and I can only be what I am. And I think all of those artists I just mentioned also portray that idea. They're just themselves, and that's just, I don't know, that's just what I gravitated towards, you know. I think that's it. And it's not a new idea, obviously, you know. Other music I loved growing up, Joy Division, The Cure, Cocteau Twins, the Jesus and Mary Chain, all had that same dark energy to them, but still very inviting, you know. You want to dive into this world. Anyone is welcome, but you kind of have to put a bit of effort in. You probably have to listen to a record several times to get into that world, or watch a film several times. But once you are there, then it's beautiful, you know. It's right next to the water, and over the other side of the water is the London financial district of Canary Wharf. So over there is this like crazy, hyper-modern, you know, hyper-capitalist world. It's over there, and I'm just over here in my quiet little space, just in my world. I like the balance of the two, you know? I like being able to move between both worlds. It feels really great and natural, and exactly what I want to be doing right now. You know, it's important for me to say that, yeah, I've made this rock-leaning album and the band feels like a rock band, but there's still a techno heartbeat to everything. And also, DJing is still a fundamental part of what I do, which is why I've made these midnight versions too, because it's still a part of who I am. It's just a different side of what I do. I love being able to do all of them. I really do, and I love being able to like, sort of draw a line between all of them and for it to make sense. It's just a wider world of this album. Yeah, so it feels great. I knew that I wanted to have an expansive record, but the beginnings were just the record. And it just sort of slowly evolved over time. You know, I've been working on this project for over 2 years, maybe 3 years. And yeah, everything has just gradually grown. And that's why I feel so proud of it, I think. It just feels really natural. And they all just feels like different parts of this world. But yeah, I mean, I always hoped I could make something this expansive. But this, I really feel proud that something big has happened here. Yeah.